Hello, everybody. Welcome to BlockJam 2022. Super excited to have you here. It's the very first BlockJam. It's a free virtual Web3/gaming hackathon, and super excited to have you here and to see what you build over the game jams. So my name is Kylee, and I'm going to be telling you all about Nervos Network and what makes Nervos Network unique. So we'll go ahead and get started. So first thing is first, though. Who am I? So my name is Kylee. I'm a technical community manager at Nervos Network. Before that, I was a content creator, a software engineer intern, and also a computer science student as well. And I have quite a bit of experience of building digital communities in Web3. So what is on the agenda? First, we are going to discuss what is Nervos Network, just in general. Also, what makes Nervos Network unique? So what are the more defining factors? We're going to go over those a little bit more. And lastly, what makes programming specifically on Nervos Network unique? And that's going to be useful if you're going to be using Nervos Network throughout this hackathon. But first, some assumptions and disclaimers. One, I'm assuming you already know what a blockchain is, just in general, and just the basics of that. We do have another presentation about all of that already that you can go check out. I believe it's by my coworker Chris, but be sure to check it out. And also, this presentation goes into a really high-level overview of Nervos Network, so we're not going to be digging deep into a lot of the technical details. This is supposed to be just sort of a brief overview of everything, but also there'll be resources for you to get started and to deep dive if you wish to. And last, do not come at me for mispronunciations. We all here, I'm sure, have experience being online and working online and just reading words first, and we just don't know how to pronounce them all. So don't come at me, but feel free to correct me somehow. Reach out to me and correct me if I pronounce something horribly wrong. So, first section is what is Nervos Network? So, what is Nervos Network? Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, Nervos Network was founded by these very smart gentlemen from China, and also in 2018. And now we have over 14 countries represented and over 86 people on our total team and over 60 core developers. And again, we were founded in 2018. So that actually means something in the blockchain industry overall. It means that Nervos Network was founded before the last bull run. So the last run of the prices of cryptocurrencies rising and going up, Nervos Network has been founded since before then. So a lot of the blockchains in existence today kind of came out of the last bull run. And it kind of speaks to Nervos Network's integrity, to the fact that we've been around since 2018. So, but what is Nervos Network? So this is the short version, and we'll get into the longer, more technical version soon. But the important thing to keep in mind is that Nervos Network is an open source blockchain network. So open source meaning all the code is available to the public to read, to play with, and even see if you can contribute as well. It's all available on GitHub, which is so awesome. So it's definitely a lot of transparency there. Additionally, Nervos Network has a huge focus on long-term sustainability, which you might have been able to already tell from the fact we've been around for over 4 years. And specifically, Nervos Network has set out to optimize for scalability, security, and decentralization. And I want you to keep these three terms in mind here, because we're going to explain why scalability, security, and decentralization really matter and why Nervos Network has specifically set out to really optimize blockchains for these three values. So, digressing from what Nervos Network is, what is the blockchain trilemma? Well, this explains why security, scalability, and decentralization matter. So, the perfect blockchain masters these three elements: security, decentralization, and scalability. Finding a balance between the three has been proven to be difficult amongst all blockchains, not just Nervos Network. All blockchains are experiencing this problem. Nervos Network did not invent this problem. This is the entire industry has been dealing with what is known as the blockchain trilemma. So typically, if you optimize for security, you're going to end up likely compromising on your blockchain scalability and decentralization, and vice versa. So these trends here are kind of what every blockchain is experiencing right now. And Nervos Network tackles this problem through abstracting software into multiple layers, essentially kind of assigning too soon, kind of assigning a layer, so to speak, a software layer, kind of one of these or more values to really focus on. And that way, these values can be sort of compartmentalized and updated without having a direct impact on one another, if that makes sense. If not, that's okay, because we're going to dive deeper into it. So before we can start talking about Nervos Network, we first need to understand what layers are in a blockchain context and how this relates to the blockchain trilemma. So in a blockchain context, layers can be thought of levels of a blockchain scaling solution. Again, this is where solving the blockchain trilemma comes in. Layer ones are typically known as foundational layers, not just within Nervos Network, but actually within all of the blockchain industry. This is typically where your consensus is going to be taking place. This is a really important part of blockchains. Additionally, they typically focus on security as well as decentralized storage. And popular example is Ethereum is actually just a layer one blockchain. Whereas Nervos Network, we have our layer one, our layer two, we have a whole network of layers, but Ethereum is just a layer one blockchain. Nervos Network's layer one is known as the common knowledge base. It's a really fitting name considering it, well, we'll get into it. And we also have our layer two, which is Godwoken. And layer twos are typically focusing on scalability. Again, this is where the blockchain scaling solutions come in here. They will focus on scaling layer one. Typically, this is where you'll be developing applications on top of layer two as well, and adding just overall more functionality to the layer one and the entire network in general. And again, Nervos Network's layer two network is known as Godwoken. And over here, we have just a generic example of what a multi-layered blockchain network may look like. As you see here, and in computer science, we start counting at 0. And each layer has its own purpose. And this way we can really compartmentalize and sort of apply good practices as far as building data intensive software. It's very good to keep everything modularized and compartmentalized so that things can be updated and changed and improved upon without having too much of a direct impact on one another. Again, that's where the blockchain trilemma comes in. Now that we have covered what the blockchain trilemma is and how layers play into solving that problem, now we can go into a deeper dive into what Nervos Network actually is. As I said before, Nervos Network is an open source blockchain network, and we use a multi-layered approach to optimize to solve the blockchain trilemma. First up is our layer one. This is known as the common knowledge base. The common knowledge base, this is a very fitting name for it, and we'll get into why soon. This is where our decentralized digital asset storage is taking place with our CKB or CKB token. So this token is actually a cryptocurrency that you can buy like any other cryptocurrency. And you have to keep in mind that somebody is storing your digital assets decentrally on their machine, so they need to be incentivized to do so. Fair enough. And that is done through our CKB token. Definitely check that out, and we'll get more into that soon. Additionally, this is where consensus takes place. So secure arbitration for upper level layers is taking place here. So Godwoken can benefit from the secure arbitration or consensus from layer one, which is great. It can inherit the security from layer one. Our first layer two network, and I say first because there's definitely so much potential for there to be more layer twos on top of our layer one. Our first one is known as Godwoken. And Godwoken is an EVM compatible execution environment built on top of an optimistic rollup solution. Whew, a lot of technical jargon here, but we'll get into this soon. All you need to know for now is that EVM compatible means that developers coming from the Ethereum development stack are going to be able to transfer over to developing on Godwoken using the same tools that they already use on Ethereum, but then also benefit from all of the pros of our layer one, such as lower fees, faster transactions, and the security as well. So Ethereum devs can rejoice. They can build on Nervos Network using Godwoken. Additionally, an optimistic rollup solution. All you need to know for now is it's a blockchain scaling solution, pretty well known. And then additionally, we have our multi-chain tooling. This is just two of many of the tools that we have, but these tools are going to add additional functionality and experiences to your layer one and layer twos. First up is our force bridge. This is where you're going to be able to transfer digital assets such as tokens and NFTs to move between the Nervos network and other connected blockchains. Additionally, we have our Portal Wallet software development kit, and this is actually made by a third-party developer, and we'll get into that soon. And this is going to bring CKB addresses to all dApps, such as MetaMask, very important. So if you're making a full stack development app, the best way to connect to MetaMask and other browser wallets is with the Portal Wallet SDK. Just a little bit of an overview. So what is Nervos Network? Our core features are our Layer 1 common knowledge base, CKB for digital storage. Our Layer 2, Godwoken EVM compatible optimistic rollup, and our multi-chain tools. Next up, what makes Nervos Network unique? Just warning you all right now, a lot of things make Nervos Network unique. Quick overview of this section before we deep dive. We're going to cover our Layer 1, our Layer 2, our native token, and our programming models and why they are unique at Nervos Network. Starting with our Layer 1, what makes it unique? So, as we already know, the Common Knowledge Base is a public blockchain serving as the foundational Layer 1 of the Nervos Network. Common knowledge refers to the states verified by the global consensus, and Layer 1 is functioning to generate trust through consensus and extend this trust to all upper layers, such as Godwoken. So really unique feature of our Layer 1 is our consensus model. It was designed at Nervos Network, and it's evolved version of Bitcoin's Nakamoto consensus. And there were a lot of very intentional design decisions when it came to developing and researching how to improve consensus models and the creation of NCMax. And there's so many added benefits in comparison to other alternative types of consensus and also Bitcoin's consensus as well. This is using proof of work. However, this has all these added benefits over proof of stake, which is why proof of work was chosen, such as it's highly secure and actually decentralized. So whereas at a proof of stake consensus, this cannot be turned on and off from a centralized point. So there's no big wig at Nervos Network who can just shut off everything on the Nervos Network blockchain. It's not possible. You truly own your data. Additionally, it's way more simplistic, and therefore there's less potential for security holes. Additionally, it is significantly more fair, and this was a huge goal of developing NCMax, was to make it more fair while optimizing for performance. So in comparison to proof of work especially, latecomers can compete with early participants as far as receiving rewards. Additionally, rewards are not prioritized to large token holders as much as it is with proof of stake. And last but not least, NCMax is optimized for much higher performance than Bitcoin's consensus model. So building on Bitcoin's consensus model, NCMax dramatically increases transactions per second and decreases the confirmation. So what makes Layer 2 unique? A lot of things, actually. But let's start off with this. As you already know, the Nervos Layer 2 Godwoken is an open source blockchain scaling solution for the common knowledge base, and it consists of two main components, Godwoken and Polyjuice. So let's break this down. So starting off with Godwoken, I know, kind of inconveniently named, but Godwoken, the component of Godwoken, the framework, is also a framework within itself. It's what in the blockchain development world you would call a roll-up framework, and roll-ups are also Layer 2 scaling solutions, and they work by taking some of the processing off of the Layer 1 chain. In turn, this increases transactions, speeds, and also reduces fees. Godwoken is very unique because it's very flexible in the types of rollups that it's able to support. So there's multiple different types of rollups in the blockchain development world, and Godwoken can pretty much work with any of them. So it's very awesome. Next, we have Polyjuice here, and Polyjuice is where the Ethereum compatibility comes in. So if you have experience with Ethereum, you might already know about some of the problems that are currently plaguing Ethereum today. So Ethereum can actually only process around 15 transactions per second. The surging demand for transactions has led to a congestion on its network and high transaction fees. You might have already experienced that already. So as a result, Nervos has built blockchains with lower transaction costs and faster speeds, but with EVM as an Ethereum virtual machine compatibility, so developers can easily transfer from Ethereum to Nervos Network. So summarize what makes Layer 2 unique. Godwoken is made up of two components, Godwoken and Polyjuice. Godwoken, the component of Godwoken, the layer 2, is a rollup framework, very flexible, and it also helps to scale layer 1. Polyjuice is where the Ethereum compatibility comes in. And ultimately, the layer 2 showcases the flexibility of Nervos Network to onboard developers from different tech stacks. Now, moving on to another major unique feature of Nervos Network, and it's our native token, CKB, otherwise known as the CK byte. So the first thing to know about CKB is 1 CKB equals 1 byte of digital storage. So 1 to 1. CKB stores decentralized digital assets on the common knowledge base. And the unique thing about CKB is that it was created intentionally to have all of the good benefits and the positives of major blockchains and cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, but without some of the cons. So for example, CKB can be used as a secure store of value like Bitcoin. CKB can also be a value token behind smart contracts like ETH. So essentially you're getting the best of both worlds here. And of course it's time for memes. So what makes layer 1 and CKB unique? But wait, there's more. So this is pretty technical, so we're not going to dive too deep into it, but essentially CKB tokenomics were designed with sustainability in mind. Remember earlier I said in the beginning that Nervos Network has set out to really provide long-term sustainability, something we don't often see in the blockchain industry. And tokenomics means the economics of a cryptocurrency. CKB was designed to be flexible, future-proof, and optimizing the blockchain trilemma, as you already know. This means ensuring its tokenomics are sustainable for long-term growth using features such as predictable rewards to long-term holders and miners, an innovative state rent system. Again, you have to incentivize miners to hold your decentralized digital storage. So an innovative state rent system for managing digital storage, and additional economic features for rewarding both long-term and short-term holders, such as the Nervos DAO. That is a whole other presentation in itself, but I definitely recommend you head to startwithnervos.com and check it out if you're interested in learning more. But essentially what to gather from all this is that CKB is not a shitcoin, and it's designed with the intent to be predictable and reliable for builders. More memes, of course. I know shitcoins can be fun, but at the end of the day, it's all about tokenomics, especially if you're going to be a blockchain builder. You need to be relying on reliable, consistent, sustainable, predictable cryptocurrencies. So summary of what makes Nervos Network unique. Our layer 1, the common knowledge base. It's secure, decentralized as it should be, with a highly performant consensus model, NC Max, that is specific to Nervos Network. As well as our layer 2, Godwoken. It is EVM compatible. It is an optimistic rollup, so there's multiple forms of scaling layer 2. Additionally, Ethereum developers are going to be easily able to transfer over onto Nervos. And our native token, which is functional and decentralized digital storage and sustainable for long-term sustainability. Next, we talk about flexible programming models. All right, so Nervos Network loves flexible programming models. We love flexibility here. So what makes programming specifically on Nervos unique? And we've already kind of covered this already with layer 2 being EVM compatible and a rollup as well, but let's dive deeper into this. Additionally, how is layer 1 flexible? What if you want to build on layer 1? As well as we have very strong developer values. Additionally, layer 2 comes with its own toolkit, and there's definitely more tools in this and some in development as well. And a lot of these tools, you're going to want to pause this. We have the links in the next slide, but definitely keep note of these if you're going to be developing on layer 2. You're going to need some of these. For example, we have the Nervos faucet. So this is where you're going to be getting your testnet funds from in order to test on your own test development network. Definitely want to check out the Nervos Explorers. These are essential. This is how you're going to be able to analyze data on the blockchain, as well as just confirm that transactions went through. Of course, we mentioned Force Bridge before, as well as our Portal Wallet SDK. And as well, definitely check out our Godwoken Kicker and our project templates. These are going to help you jumpstart your development environment so you can get up and running on layer 2 quickly. And lastly, check out our CKB tools. These are made in-house and it includes an online collection of free development tools. All right, so if you're going to be building on Godwoken, definitely pause the screen, take a screenshot, check out all these resources here and bookmark them for later. They're going to come in handy. I'll give you a moment to go ahead and pause and moving on. All right, so layer 1, what is unique about programming on layer 1? Well, for starters, you should know that you're likely not going to be programming on our layer 1, especially during this hackathon. However, if you are interested, there's a few things you should know. And one feature that makes layer 1 very unique is our CKB-VM. So as I mentioned earlier, Polyjuice is EVM compatible. The EVM stands for Ethereum's virtual machine. Nervos Network also has its own virtual machine called the CKB-VM, and this is what's responsible for executing smart contracts on Nervos. So just a little bit of blockchain history here. Ethereum's virtual machine actually opened the door for what you call Turing complete programmability on blockchains. So whereas Bitcoin was just sort of decentralized data storage, Ethereum brought programmability through smart contracts to blockchains. And that's what's really awesome about Ethereum, right? So Nervos Network took this concept a step further by implementing RISC-V instruction sets on the CKB-VM. What does this mean? Well, if you're a computer nerd, you likely already know about RISC-V. RISC-V is a computer instruction set architecture. It's essentially the computer architecture that is responsible for the raw instructions going directly to the CPUs powering all of your technology. So essentially what this means is that the programmability of Nervos Network starts on the lowest level of software abstraction possible, and any programming language that can target RISC-V can be used natively for Nervos development. So the benefit here is that our CKB-VM, instead of being its own made-up proprietary thing, it's actually based and implemented based on something that exists outside of blockchain development and just in computer science in general, and that is RISC-V instruction sets. So if you're already familiar with these, then you're going to be happy programming on layer 1. Again, it's all about flexibility here. And another added benefit is RISC-V is one of the only instruction sets out there that is open source. So again, we love open sourceness here. Then moving on to another unique feature of layer 1 is what we have called the CKB cell model. So this can go very deep, but what you want to know right now is that the CKB cell, is the most basic structure for representing a single piece of data in Nervos. The data contained in a cell can take many forms, including CK bytes, tokens, code in JavaScript, or even serialized data like JSON strings. As there is no restriction on the type of data included, developers have full flexibility in their choices. The main purpose of a cell in CKB is to store only the data crucial for consensus. That's where the common knowledge comes in. So essentially what this is saying is that CKB cells are the most basic structure for representing data on Nervos, and they follow these few theoretical concepts. This is what the data structure of it looks like. And essentially, if you're following these theoretical concepts, you're going to be able to build a lot with it. So you're given kind of these set of rules, so to speak, and then you're pretty much free to build on top of that. So it's a very unique data structure model that's not found in other blockchains. Again, this is a great resource, guys. This is one of my favorites. This is an interactive website for learning more about the cell model and how layer 1 works. Now, moving on to developer values. As you might have been already able to tell, we're all about open sourceness. Follow us on GitHub. Also check out what we call requests for comments. These are basically a collection of all of our policies and just manifestos where the community can actually have input on these as well. So definitely check these out. You'll learn a lot about Nervos Network. We're all about interoperability. Again, we make a lot of design decisions that are based around wanting developers with different tech stacks and different skills to be able to migrate easily to Nervos Network. Again, that goes along with flexibility as well and future-proofing. And moving on to community. So, summary, what makes programming on Nervos Network unique? We have a very flexible layer 2. It's going to be easy for Ethereum developers to come on over and develop on Nervos Network. We have a blockchain scaling solution rollup framework on top of that as well, where you can actually, this is optimistic rollup, but you can use different types of rollups here. Interchangeable consensus, interchangeable programming models, and convenient tooling included. Now, moving on to the layer 1 here, we have the CKB-VM. That's where you can actually start programming at a very low level on CKB. You have that option, and the rules and the guidelines for doing so are all based on RISC-V instruction sets, which are also open source. Again, we're going to be able to migrate more developers with their different skills and apply them onto the Nervos network. We have the cell model as simple, flexible, well documented, and it's open source. And last but not least, we have very strong developer values, all about open sourceness, interoperability, flexibility, future proofing, and also just using smart and good practices when it comes to designing data intensive applications, really. So making sure things are backwards compatible, for example, is a really big thing as well. But overall, we love builders, we're all open source, and we try to design everything in mind with migrating more developers over. All right. So I know that was a lot of technical information to take in, everybody. So if any of that was confusing, do not feel bad whatsoever. Easily, every single one of these slides deserves its own rabbit hole. So if you're interested in learning more, definitely feel free to check out other resources as well. But what you really just needed to know is the overview. And if you're developing on Godwoken, which you likely are, check out all of those tools and those links. And there's more than enough guides to help you get started. Now, if you're interested with building with Nervos, we have an assortment of different types of grants available. We also partnered with something called the Build Club. It's very cool. It's a cohort type club where everybody builds on Nervos, and you get a lot of support in doing so as well, from marketing to community, developer relations, everything, you name it. Additionally, if you want to learn more about these grants here, go to this link here on our website. And if you are interested in starting with Nervos Network, check out this website here. This is ran by the developer relations team. There's a lot of useful FAQs here. Additionally, you can find some of our bounties on Gitcoin as well. So, get paid to build with Nervos Network. Moving on before we finish up. So Nervos has a very strong grassroots community. Again, we're all about developers, flexibility, computer science nerdom. That's what we are. So if any of this speaks to you at all, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We have Reddit, Discord, Telegram, LinkedIn. We're on everything. Go check us out. I personally am most active in the Discord here. Finally, here's a Discord link. Feel free to join it. Look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much, everyone.